relationships. Are you chasing any relationship right now? If you are younger, that doesn't guarantee being younger. Older people can also chase. No restriction from Yoga Vasistha side. Or maybe you already made your choices, the best possible choice at given time. Now take the holistic experience. What happened? Are you really very happy with the whole process of chasing relationship, maintaining relationship? How much hard work is that? Of course, that gave a little bit of joy and happiness, but how much freedom it gave you after getting into the relationship? Are you more free or it is more restrictive? It's your own assessment. Nobody's sharing. It is just you be your own judge. Let us become aware of other aspect of our life, the health, the body, how much investment you have done. All those 200 hours of Sri Sri yoga training programs, hot yoga, Padma Sadhana, yeah, and all those beauty products, L'Oreal, Lakme, God knows all. I don't have a clear list. But see, doesn't matter what we fed to the body. Did it always listen to us? We wanted to have black hairs, but they started graying. Sometimes the hair didn't even listen. They started departing despite of our best willingness. You wanted a thinner waistline and it became waistline. It kept increasing, increasing. What has been the experience with the body? Are you very happy with your body? That is the only thing you have. We cannot change. But what has been the experience being with this body? All the aches and pain, not even willing to listen to sit in Vajrasan, yogasanas. Just see how obedient is your body. Is it a good servant? It is serving you well, or it is driving us nuts. Take a good stock of the situation of what pleasures this body is giving. Definitely they give some pleasure, but how often there is a more investment. And let's come to the desire part. We all have certain desires, right? Is there any burning desire? If not, was there any burning desire in the past? We chase that red color Ferrari, that Tesla, that big house, that job, that partner, any desire, intense cravings. Just go to that point. It may be some person you crave for, some experience you really crave for. How was that overall experience? Was it ecstatic, blissful, giving you freedom? Or the process was like really merry-go-round, chasing one thing, other thing. And once you achieved that, let's assume how long that stayed. Just become mindful of that. Any other enjoyment? You went to Hawaii, you went to some Switzerland, had the Michelin dinner, bought your Gucci Armani bags, whatever was your best desire craving, how long the effect lasted, the fulfillment. Just become aware of that. And finally, are you aware of the flow of time in your life? From the childhood, from a 8, 9 pound baby to 180-pound person, from a toddler to a fully grown up person, retired person. Did you see the flow of time? Can you go back and change anything? It was so autonomous. Let's become aware of the flow of time. It is just flowing non-stop, no regulation, and we don't have any control over that. And the kind of choices it brings. Have you seen, as the time passed, a lot of things people departed from our life. So many things change. Everything changed. The time has been a major agent of the change for all of us. I'll stop here. So you can go from the 6 month to 2 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and project. If you have not been old enough yet, just project how long it will take for you to become old. And in all these phases, what was the permanent joy? So far, have you found something which is permanent source of joy? Or everything has been transient? A blip of happiness and a long chase filled with tests, challenges, misery, burning. Just do a good assessment of your life. I'll give you 1 minute and then we'll start the session.
You're on mute, Raj.
Okay. Thank you for telling. We can open our eyes. I believe none of you heard. Okay. We'll remember Guruji before we start. So just take a moment to remember Guruji. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Shri Gurave Namaha. When we study Yoga Vasistha, we read this prayer. So I'll chant and feel free to read and chant along. Om Tat Sat Yatah Sarvani Bhutani Pratibhanti Isthitani Cha Yatraivopashmam Yanti Tasmai Satyatmane Namaha. Salutation to that reality in which all the elements and all the animate and inanimate beings shine as if they have an independent existence and in which they exist for a time and into which they merge. ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा नेयं द्रष्टा दर्शन दृश्य भुः कर्ता हेतु क्रिया यस्मत् तस्मै ज्ञाप्त्यात्मने नमः. Salutation to that consciousness which is the source of the apparently distinct threefold divisions of knower, knowledge, and known, seer, sight, and seen, doer, doing, and deed. स्फुरन्ति शिखरायस्मद् आनन्दस्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः. Salutation to that bliss absolute, the ocean of bliss, which is the life of all beings, whose happiness and unfoldment is derived from the shower of spray from that ocean of bliss. So, this is the prayer we chant before we read that book. This is in the first few pages. If you have already got the book, my request will be it just takes about a minute to read that thing. So, welcome to Yoga Vasistha Express. Why Express? Because of two reasons. We want to express what is the knowledge at the express speed. The recommendation to read this Yoga Vasistha, it is a very special text, very, very amazing text. Guruji has been telling to read this for very, very long time to different people. And I think somehow that looks like time is ripe. In last 1 or 2 years, I see a lot of teachers started talking about Yoga Vasistha. Yoga Vasistha is one scripture where Gurudev hasn't given a commentary. It is very easy when it is Ashtokra Gita, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Narad Bhakti Sutra. It's very easy. Gurudev has made it very simple. You just take the now you don't take tape, it is all digital format. You go and click, and then the knowledge is given on a platter, and then you just remember a couple of lines and then job is done. And that is the power of Gurudev's direct transmission of the knowledge, very transformatory. Sometime back, I think it is 4 or 5 years back, I was reading Yoga Vasistha. I've been attempting reading Yoga Vasistha for several decades, to be very honest and transparent. If you have been trying, you are not the only one. So I've been trying. And then one day in Boone, I wrote a question that Gurudev, you have given commentary on so many things, but you haven't given commentary on Yoga Vasistha. When we can expect a commentary on Yoga Vasistha? And it is surprising that that day, Gurudev ended the satsang. He didn't read any question and he was almost about to leave. And then he said, "Oh, any questions?" And somehow that question got picked up. I think maybe the people who are sorting the question, they also might be having that question. So they picked up the question and they read the question, and Gurudev said, what is there to explain? It is so simple, so easy, read. So I think all of you take it as a blessing, because when your master says it is so simple and so easy, it is, so be it. It is the blessing of the master. And I tell you, after that, I started reading Yoga Vasistha, and it actually started making some sense. Okay. Maybe that blessing came. Okay. But the point here I'm trying to tell you is Yoga Vasistha is a very different book. It takes all the sense out of your senses, because we are bound with our senses, these five senses, and we are trying to make sense of the infinity, the things which we can see, things we cannot see, things we can feel, things we cannot feel. What we are doing is using these five senses and a tiny brain. We are trying to make the sense out of the infinity. And we all know how well we are doing with our instruments, right? So anyway, coming back to that story, is that it started making sense. And then I already had one round of knowledge sessions at that time. But after that, we had a couple of more sessions. So just want to tell you, you are not the first human subject for Yoga Vasistha experimentation. There have been fewer batches of other people who have gone through that. Some of them are here. So you can say that most of the people survived the sessions. So I hope you all will be also there. Now, before we jump into this, like, I want to set a few things correctly. Is that here? That, see, if you are here trying to extract knowledge, understand Yoga Vasistha, find the intellectual explanation, I think you will be slightly disappointed in terms of the way the process will go. But you will be very amazed with the results if you can stick with that, right? So the process, the expectation of the process may yield some disappointment, because most of the scriptures which we study, we read, we want to extract something useful. Okay, you did a Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you say, oh, Sthira Sukham Asanam. Okay, I got a formula. You read Bhagavad Gita, then Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samveta, Yutsava. So you go back with certain concept. Yoga Vasistha is stripping us from all the concepts. So, and many times I've seen that the first session is the most dangerous session. In second session, a lot of people don't come because it doesn't satisfy that requirement. So here, what is important, I think, I will not stretch beyond whatever the stipulated time. I like to cover first chapter end to end because it is the most important chapter I feel. But we'll read a little bit today just to keep the time check. But just to set the concept, Yoga Vasistha, as I was saying, it is a very different scripture. Most of the scriptures give some hope. Most of the scripture give some idea, oh, there is a bigger power, you don't worry, everything will be taken care of, you just do this, rituals, prayers, mantra. What Yoga Vasistha comes and does, it snatches all the crutches. It takes away all the accessories. It takes away all the excuses. It takes away all the reason which postpones the enlightenment, which deprive us from the direct experience of the freedom and liberation. Now we are so used to of getting something like this assistance, that assistance. So you have a car, you have a cushion for the car, you have a big sofa, and you have another supporting thing. We are so used to of that idea. Yoga Vasistha is totally different. Oh, you are sitting on the sofa? No, 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 it is not the reality. Taking the sofa away. You are so used to of chanting mantra and relying on this power or that power. It will just strip away all those ideas and concepts. It may be a jarring experience for some of us, right? But what I always say is we can study. This is Vedanta. Vedanta is the pinnacle of the knowledge, right? It is one part of the Vedanta. Very, very, and Vedanta is all about direct experience of the reality, direct experience of the consciousness. I think language cannot capture that fully, right? But it forces us to have the direct experience. And so far, what we have been doing it, we are postponing. I do sadhana for 10, 20 years, then my mind will come silent and I'll become enlightened. Or I do charity, or I do puja, I do this. It will enable sometime in future. And Yoga Vasistha says that, sorry to tell you, it is here and now. And the way you are seeing it, the things you are relying on, maybe you have to change that, right? So that is the first thing I want to tell, that it will be a very different experience. And we have to be like, there are two ways of doing this thing. I think sometime I tell this thing in the middle of the session, but I'll tell this group right now. There are two ways to go through this knowledge. One way is, let's say that you go and to a ENT specialist, okay, the eye, nose, throat doctor, and you say nose, then he will tell you a Greek or Latin name. Nose is this apparatus and filled with this olfactory nerve system and all that. He will provide a lot of technical details about nose, how far is nose, how many hairs inside the nose, mucus and all that thing. And the other thing you do the same thing is you do it with a like a 2-year-old child nose, and what the child will do, they will point directly to the nose. Okay, so there are two ways of going through this knowledge. Is one is intellectual, that going like a expert, and which is like headache, it is very intellectual. The other thing is just being there innocently, and maybe a lot of things will not make sense, but there will be one point you will understand, oh, nose. You see that? Some point it will be, oh, nose, oh, self, oh, liberation, oh, freedom. Okay. So we just go into that space. Now, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. We are trained, our mind is trained in certain manner. So I would say that stay with your nature, but the only thing is do not expect a lot of more concept. Yoga Vasistha is about direct experience of the reality. Okay, this is only thing I want to share. And now we will start reading it. We'll read a part of that, and what happens is that it is recommended you read a bite size, half a page, then you munch on that, you process it, then next day you go with that next page and do the same thing. This book is almost 700 pages. If you have to do like this, it will take 4 years. So it is not express. It is like a very deep, slow journey, but nobody has time, right? Any of you is willing to give every day for next 3 4 years, it will be challenging. So what attempt, this is the attempt, like I just pray to Guruji that it makes it meaningful, that it is a express experience. Sometimes you will be with the knowledge, with the experience, it may make a lot of sense. Sometimes it will not make any sense in the session, but the whole idea is let's bring you to a point. It is my favorite corporate thing which I tell my team all the time: bring the project in the middle of the lake. So when you are in the middle of the lake, going forward takes the same effort as going back. So my objective is to bring you into the middle of the lake where you think, see that, oh my God, we have come to 4 chapters. Let's finish it rather than drop it, because dropping is same effort, finishing is the same effort. So the express part of Yoga Vasistha is just expedited increasing the curiosity. By no way we can capture the full essence in 11 sessions. It only takes 5 minutes to capture the essence of Yoga Vasistha if somebody is ready. Otherwise, 7 lives are less. So with that, let's begin reading. Okay. It is 6:36. We'll read about 20 minutes, whatever we can cover, and then 5 minute discussion. After that, 7 o'clock, beyond 7 o'clock, whatever session goes, it is totally optional. 7 o'clock, feel free to drop. Okay. Let me share the screen. I use a Kindle book to read. Tell me once you see this. Okay. You see the book, everybody? Okay. So let's first read what it says that. Okay. The Yoga Vasistha is the greatest help to the spiritual awakening and the direct experience of the truth. This is certain. If this is what you want, you are welcome to Yoga Vasistha. If you want more concept, you want to impress other with your intellectual prowess and abilities, you can still use it. But I think personally, it will not be very useful. It is important that if you are interested and if you stick to the session, it will force you to become interested in the direct experience of the truth. That is the power of Yoga Vasistha. The text abounds in repetitions, which are, however, not repetitious. So you will see the same kind of theme, story again and again, but it is always a different perspective, different angle. So you may see, oh, didn't we talk last week the same thing? Or 2 days back, I read the same thing, but it may feel repetitious, but it is not. And here is the point which I was telling, that you can understand Yoga Vasistha in 5 minutes comes here. If you don't like or need repetitions, then read just this one verse. So read it very carefully. Let's begin with the essence of Yoga Vasistha is this world appearance is a confusion. Even as the blueness of the sky is an optical illusion. I think it is better not to let the mind dwell on it, but to ignore it. Let me read it once more. Be here with rapt attention. This world appearance is a confusion, even as the blueness of the sky is an optical illusion. I think it is better not to let the mind dwell on it, but to ignore it. I'll read once more. 5 minutes, right? The world appearance is a confusion. Have you seen this world? Isn't it a confusion? You see a person, they are your best friend. 2 days later, somebody tells what they're talking about you behind your back. You thought this person is my soulmate, and then that person collects their soul, means two souls, and leave you with the light speed. You thought money brings joy, happiness, but it was a confusion. When it is needed, it doesn't help, isn't it? Just see from your own experience that what you met your eyes, didn't it is like it was never the full reality? Didn't it create some confusion in some part? Then see that good example, the blueness of sky is an optical illusion. Every day we see the sky. What color is sky? Blue. But in reality, it is what you call refraction. If you do the physics, it will tell you there is no color in the sky. If you cross the atmospheric layer, it is all black. Hmm? So optical illusion, even the blueness of the sky is an optical illusion. I think it is better not to let the mind dwell on it, but to ignore it. What binds us? What binds us is our mind. And what binds mind is these images, experiences from this world, isn't it? And we take it as solid reality. Stock market, solid reality. Job, solid reality. Relationship, solid reality. Your sangha, seva, solid reality. Your body is solid reality. But isn't it everything is changing and fleeting? Nothing is in your control. Hmm. But it gives that impression that it is reality. Now it says that I think it is better not to let the mind dwell on it, okay, but to ignore it. And what is the meaning of this? We will see in further sections. Okay, so it says it is wise to read just one page a day. The teaching is revolutionary. The biased mind doesn't readily accept it. So if you are not liking what I'm talking, it is not my problem. You need to check your mind. I'm not saying, the book is saying, okay? The biased mind doesn't readily accept it. And we all have biases. Okay. So just to make it very clear, we all have biases in some form or other. What we do, we just stick. After the daily reading, meditate, let the masses sow through. Okay. Now we will start with the this one. For next few minutes we will read. The first part is on dispassion. In Vedic tradition, there are four pillars of knowledge. If you have done Art of Living Silence course, you might have heard the talk, Gurudev's talk, four pillars of knowledge. What are those four pillars? Vivek, Vairagya, six wealth, and Mumukshatva. And Yoga Vasistha is at least like three are very well captured. The fourth is part of also captured, but the three are very, very vividly captured in very repeated manner. First chapter is about Viveka and Vairagya. And Guruji is so amazing. He puts all this knowledge in a very capsule compressed form, in a simple vitamin pill form, vitamin knowledge form. Okay. So what is Viveka? Gurudev explains so very well that everything is changing, whatever is changing, knowing what is changing and what is not changing is Viveka. Very simple definition he gives. The first chapter is all about Lord Rama's experience about the fleeting nature of the world, various phenomena, and how they are not real, true. And then what is Vairagya is dispassion. Like if you get too attached with all these fleeting things, it is very difficult to stay sane and move in the life, right? And that is where comes the dispassion. So until unless the first chapter happens in anybody's life, it is almost impossible to have deeper understanding, deeper knowledge. People who are on the spiritual path, they are many times are exposed to few important texts. Bhagavad Gita is the one when God talks to Arjuna is the first one. Second thing is Ashtavakra Gita, and here we are talking Yoga Vasistha. So some of you already have gone through some of those things, and you will see some parallelism between those and some contradiction. But one thing is common. Until Arjuna felt the complete dejection, depression, he did not understand. I mean, it took a lot of time for Krishna to explain that thing. That's a different thing. Same thing with Janaka in Ashtavakra Gita. He just felt that, oh wow, it is all unreal. That Viveka happened, Vairagya happened, and then the real understanding dawned. So this first chapter, it is the most painful chapter in Yoga Vasistha. My sister, I gave her gifted a book 20 years back. She read 30 pages, she returned the book with the cover and a thank you note, right? So many of the people cannot cross the first 30 pages of the chapter 1. Okay, but this is the foundation. If the first chapter doesn't happen in somebody's life, the second chapter, third chapter, fourth chapter is difficult. Okay, just a cautious warning that be, stick here, right? Just be there 2 3 sessions, and once we cross this thing, things will start making sense. So let's start. Jay Gurudev, let's start the part 1 on dispassion. There are few names. The way I read it, I just read some important passages and I request all of you to read every word at your leisure. Okay. So the things which are highlighted, I will read that, may give a couple of lines of commentary, and then we move on. So Sutikshana the sage asked the sage Agastya, O sage, kindly enlighten me on this problem of liberation. Which one of two it conducive to liberation, work or knowledge, seva or only doing courses, reading books or chasing money? And the answer, isn't it happening in our life also, that can just the knowledge do the things, or seva, sadhana, chasing the money and everything, they are also important. Agastya replied, verily birds are able to fly with their two wings. Even so, both work and knowledge together led to the supreme goal of liberation. Not indeed work alone, nor indeed knowledge alone can lead to liberation. But both of them together form the means to liberation. Listen, I shall narrate to you a legend in answer to your question. There once lived a holy man by name Karunya, who was the son of Agnivesha. Having mastered the holy scriptures and understood their purport, the young man became apathetic to life. Seeing this, Agnivesha demanded why Karunya has abandoned the due performance of his daily duties. To which Karunya replied, don't the scriptures declare on one hand that one should fulfill spiritual injunctions till the end of the life, and on the other that immortality can be realized only by the abandonment of all actions? Caught between these two doctrines, what shall I do, O my Guru, my father? Having said this, the young man remained silent. Can you relate it with your own life? One side, we want to meditate. One side, we don't want to be attached with anything. One side, we want to become free. The other side, if you continue doing this, you will not even have money to attend next Art of Living course. Your family will tell you that what are those food stamps, can you stand in the queue? Okay, and your body itself will become like lazy, lethargic. Your meditation will become difficult. Do you see that, right? So this thing is whether just the knowledge is good enough, or it need to be combined with the action. And this is like, we should be happy. This is a 2000-year-old problem. You haven't invented in your own life. Humanity has been struggling with this. Yeah. And what is the answer is both together, just like two wings of the a bird. One wing, with flying with one wing may be possible, but might be very imbalanced and very difficult. So looking into our own life, I think this is the only practical thing I see in Yoga Vasistha, which we can take it to our daily life. If you are not performing your work well, you are not paying attention to your duties, whatever are required duties, rest assured liberation will be a little slower process. Yeah, but focusing on both action, whatever is the required from us, and pursuing the knowledge is a sure short path of that. Then this Yoga Vasistha is story inside story inside story inside story. And I have seen some of my past teachers, they loved making, remembering this person told this person, this person. It is, if you have done programming in C, it is pointer to the pointer to the pointer, and finally it is a crash. Okay, kernel crash. So I don't do that. I skip all those unnecessary. I mean, everything is necessary, but I skip the portion. So, but it is totally up to you. Please do read that. So I'll skip the things. Let's move forward. Now it comes that who should study this scripture. It is very well, very clearly written, a contract. He is qualified to study this scripture, the dialogue between Rama and Vasistha, who feels I am bound. I should be liberated. Who is neither totally ignorant nor enlightened. He who deliberates on the means of liberation propounded in this scripture in the form of stories surely attains liberation from the repetitive history of birth and death. Can we do the self check? Do we qualify? Anybody is fully enlightened here? Please feel free to ask for your refund from Raji and you can start your own sessions. Okay. But if you feel that, oh, I'm not fully liberated, there are areas I feel pain, there are challenges, I'm there is more to the life. I understand a bit. I'm awakened a bit, but I don't know the reality fully. Then we are eligible for this. So we can close our eyes and do the self eval and testing. Do we qualify? Are we pursuing something which can give us bigger freedom, bigger flexibility in our life, right? We may not be chasing liberation. Liberation is a pretty heavy technical word. But are we chasing for happiness, which is longer lasting happiness, unconditional happiness, which is like beyond the event and situations and people and object in our life? That is what is chasing moksha, chasing the liberation. Okay. So if you are in matching these criteria, congratulations. Welcome to the Yoga Vasistha sessions. Otherwise, please contact Raji, ask for the refund. She won't give you, by the way. Okay. So then this talks about that how this Yoga Vasistha comes out in this world. So then there is a story that this one sage wanted that everybody be liberated because all the enlightened people want the suffering to be eliminated from the world, including Gurdev. And that is why Gurdev is giving Sudarshan Kriya and so many things, Sayam, intuition to everyone. So the Rishi Bhardwaja wanted that. And then the solution was that go and know how Lord Rama got enlightened. And this Yoga Vasistha is excerpt from the Ramayana, the epic of Ramayana, which is the story of Lord Rama, which is supposed to be the incarnation of absolute consciousness, Narayana. So this is excerpt from his life story, and this captures the essence of how he got enlightened. He came, though he was absolute consciousness incarnated, but that was veiled because of whatever is the divine reason so that this knowledge can come out. So there was a time when Rama was living as a ordinary mortals like you and me, and he had the same set of problems which are very clearly explained using great metaphors and adjective in chapter 1. That is why it is very important, because it is not about Rama, it is our own story when we see life clearly. So next week we will go over all those sections, right? Today, in interest of time, we will not go there. And here it says that the same knowledge is captured in Yoga Vasistha, and he says then the secret of liberation to Rama. Lakshmana is the brother of Rama, and the other brothers are also they and also their parents and member of royal court. So this book, what it captures, it captures the secret of liberation. And it says, my son, if you too live like them, you will also be freed from sorrow here and now. So from Astavakra, Adhanav Sukhi Santa, right now you will be free and you will be happy. The same promise which comes from Astavakra, it comes from here also. If you understand this knowledge and you live as per this knowledge, here and now you will be liberated and happy, free from sorrow and free from bondage. Now it comes the favorite thing. This world appearance is a confusion, even as the blueness of sky is an optical illusion. I think it is better not to let the mind dwell on it, but to ignore it. Neither freedom from sorrow nor realization of one's real nature is possible as long as the conviction doesn't arise in one that the world appearance is unreal. And this conviction arises one studies this scripture with diligence. It is then that one arrives at the firm conviction that the objective world is a confusion of real with the unreal. If one does not thus study this scripture, true knowledge doesn't arise in him even in millions of years. It simply is saying is that the world is like a matrix. We all have seen, right? And it looks so fascinating. It is like Vegas, right? It's different light and optical shows and sound and temptations, promises. But you know the reality? What happens is that based on all those promises, you decided to get married with someone, right? After that, you know what happened? Based on all those things, fancy things, you decided to buy that house. Then, mortgage every month comes. Same the car, right? So this world is so amazing, matrix, illusion, right? And what happens? It promises something, but at the end, it fails to deliver anything very short. And until unless somebody understand this thing is that, oh, this is just a false promise. It is an illusion. The real knowledge doesn't begin. The journey towards the reality doesn't begin. It is just like, that have you seen that little kid? They run to catch their own shadows, or like some mirror is reflecting, they run to catch that. But can they ever catch that thing? Until somebody has the understanding, stand up. Oh, it is a shadow. I can never catch this thing. And it doesn't worth catching. It is impossible to stop that repetitive process, insanity. I normally don't go into the more traditional thing, life and death and all that. I say, do you see the patterns in your life? Again, from Ashtabakra Gita, I'm just borrowing. Do you see the pattern in the life? Same kind of joy, same kind of sorrow, same kind of disappointment, same kind of experiences, but we are never tired of that. It's a new promise every single day, but we are never tired of the promises made by this world, this senses, because we think it is real. So until we start seeing that, oh, let me stop and then see the substance, the real knowledge cannot start. This is what it is saying. The firm conviction that objective world is a confusion of the real within the unreal. Okay. Moksha or liberation is the total abandonment of all vasanas or mental conditioning without the least reserve. What makes this world as a solid reality? If you see, there are two. Gurudev again says that it is a classical physics and chemistry and quantum physics. You know that in quantum physics, everything is possible. You are seeing Schrodinger's cat, this thing. A cat is dead, cat is alive. The object is outside of the box, inside of the box. Only the observer gives the solidity to the reality. How many of you know about this thing? Like in quantum mechanism, physics, everything is reality. Prabhat is in this room, in your room, and everywhere. But you as an observer decided that Prabhat is on the Zoom session, and that is how I got trapped in the Zoom session, right? So this is what it is, the what quantum, even in fact the science says that. So what happens? But what gives that observer this conviction that this is the reality is the mind. And what how mind decide? It is these concepts. So what creates our world, your world is the conditioning of the mind. And that is what the technical term it is saying, all the vasanas. Happy people have their mind which is conditioned. They see all thing good, half glass full. Unhappy people see half glass empty. You see that? It is nothing just the conditioning of the mind. And what is the liberation? A very simple explanation. When all this conditioning, the mind operates from beyond the conditioning, then there is a freedom without the least reserve. Then it talks about mental conditionings are of two types, the pure and impure. The impure is the cause of birth, the pure liberates one from birth. Why birth is not taken with a very good taste? Because only with the birth we experience all kind of pain, right? Jatapi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, maranam dukkha. This is Buddha, he said in the Pali. So for truth, only with the birth, all the process, we all come crying. No child come laughing. Hey, I got liberated from the womb. I am free, right? All of us came out crying. So the first experience of pain was coming out of the birth canal, right? And after that, there are different flavor of the different pain, the sickness and old age and loss of the money, loss of disappointment, husband not giving diamond ring, wife not serving good food, a boss not appreciating, all different flavor of dukkhas started only from the birth. And it is a very repetitive process. And then it talks about the other type of this thing, which frees us from this repetitive pattern, which frees us from the cycle of birth and death. Those are the pure tendencies. The impure is the nature of nescience and the ego sense. These are the seeds, as it were, for the tree of rebirth. From the impure tendencies, we decide next birth. On the other hand, when these seeds are abundant, the mental conditioning thus merely sustains the body. So none of you need to worry that after 5 sessions of yoga vasistha you will drop your body. No, there is assurance. The life assurance is that don't worry, you will complete your journey. Don't worry about that, or don't take any additional life insurance. It just says that when these seeds are burnt, body sustains. Okay. The mental conditioning that merely sustains the body is of pure nature. Such mental conditioning exists even in those who have been liberated while living. For example, Gurudev, right? Like is liberated, fully enlightened sage. He is functioning much better than all of us, taking much more responsibility, managing much more difficult people than our spouses and bosses, right? And larger scale, and they are much more happy than us. It does not lead to rebirth as it is sustained by past momentum, not by present motivation. Okay. Then, okay. So as I promised, it is the time when I should stop, because next session we will start with the story of Rama and his this one. So I'll pause here. So let's close our eyes for a few moments. I'll just do a quick recap. We just had a little introduction. This is the first session. I just tried to remind you is that this scripture is slightly different than rest of the scriptures. A bite-sized reading is recommended, and the contemplation on that is highly recommended. It might strip you away from more concept rather than giving you more intellectual uh, weapons to prove you are more intelligent, but it will take you home. That is for sure. The nature of this knowledge is it is very repetitive, but it is not repetitive in the sense because it always brings a different aspects. Then the core theme it says is that the world appearance is kind of a confusion. It appears real, but you cannot trust your own eyes. Just like the blue color of the sky, it's a optical illusion. And it is recommended, do not let the mind dwell on the appearance of the world. I'll just like add a little bit. You see that somebody said something. It is part of the world, but when mind gets stuck with somebody's opinion, somebody's complaint, criticism, we lost our freedom. You saw something in the world, you have this craving to achieve that. You heard something from someone about some place, object, thing, and now mind is chasing, making plan to go there. We lost our freedom. Okay. So living the life, but lightly, not to dwell on the whatever is the apparent reality which we see about this world, because it is a pretty good optical illusion. And then we just talked about the age old confusion. What is the solution? Only knowledge, like reading all the books, is good enough, or it need to be combined with actions. And the prescription says is that both are required, just like two wings of the bird, action and knowledge, both in a good combination lead to the liberation. Okay. And then we just spend time on the built up that what this knowledge can do. And we talked about the pure conditioning of the mind and impure conditioning of the mind. I leave you for 30 seconds to evaluate your own tendencies, latent tendencies in your mind. How many things push you to go and buy Starbucks coffee, react in a violent manner, or not to react when you should talk, impulsiveness, anger. Do we have those tendencies? And then see the good tendencies, pure tendencies, doing kriya, sadhana, helping others, coming to the knowledge session. Certain set of tendencies we which are conducive to the freedom, inner freedom, emotional freedom, mental freedom. Just evaluate those and just understand how these tendency, forget about birth and death, they bring the repeated experiences. Certain tendencies bring a flavor of experience like fights, conflicts. Certain tendencies bring happiness and joy. So just see in our own life how our current tendencies are playing a role. I'll leave you 30 seconds before we go something forward. Cool. Okay. Take a deep breath in and slowly let go. Another deep breath in and gently let go. And taking your own time, slowly and gradually, we may open our eyes. Okay. So, as promised, it is 5 minutes past 7. Feel free to drop off. But today was the first session as just the introduction. We haven't started the Yoga Vasistha. So next session onward, it will be truly express speed. We'll try to capture the essence of one, at least half of a chapter in one of the sessions, right? And then our group discussion can come back for question and answering. That will be the format. But I don't want to stretch it beyond what is your comfort limit. So official time we finish 7 PST plus minus couple of minutes. Okay. So if you have to go, thank you so much for joining the session. It is such a pleasure to having all of you. If you have any questions, I'll stay back and try to answer to best of my abilities.
Hi, does it help if we pre-read before the session? Can you let us know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Every day we should read a part of that. Raji will send the instruction on the WhatsApp
Okay.
group if you haven't joined. We all